Palantir, the unsung hero of Ukrainian defense. Palantir Technologies has played a pivotal role in Ukraine's defense against the Russian invasion. Ukraine was supposed to fall in 3 days, but a year and a half later, Ukraine is still standing. Did you ever ask yourself, how is Ukraine still standing? How did Ukraine not fall? And how is Ukraine fighting against all odds and not only surviving, but holding their ground? Well, for me, the answer is Palantir. But the question is, how did Palantir make such an impact in the Ukrainian defense? And if you stick around in this video, we're going to reveal how Palantir is the unsung hero of the Ukrainian war. And we're going to dig deeper to find out what the future holds for Palantir post the Ukrainian war. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the numbers, and you're going to see that Palantir is an absolute beast in the making. From providing cutting-edge software to helping with the refugee crisis, Palantir has been an absolute invaluable partner to Ukraine. And in this video, we will dive and dissect into the importance of Palantir in Ukraine and how it's positioning itself for post-war success amid rising defense budgets in the United States as well as in NATO. The United States and NATO have both been increasing their defense budgets in response to global threats.
Following the Russian invasion of Ukraine in late February, many NATO members, including the US, Germany, and Poland, have pledged support in the form of money,
$800 million,
600 Danish crowns,
300 million pounds,
and weapons.
Canada will be sending heavy artillery.
And in addition to aid, some in the Western military alliance are also boosting their own defenses. Here's how some NATO countries are looking to upgrade their military capabilities. One major step to strengthen the West's ability to deter Moscow was announced by Germany. Chancellor Olaf Scholz said the country would boost military spending above 2% of GDP and invest the equivalent of $113 billion in weaponry. This graph illustrates that spike in Germany's defense spending.
In 2023 alone, the defense budget of the United States has been raised to $842 billion dollars, which is more than the other 10 countries behind the United States put together in spending. And as per Bank of America analysts, they say that this spending is going to increase to $1 trillion by 2026. Meanwhile, the NATO Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg, has requested that all NATO countries increase their defense budget for NATO specifically to 2%. This is the status quo, but most countries are not actually living up to this. Besides, for all NATO countries increase their NATO defense, many countries like Spain and Germany are increasing their personal defense budget for their specific country, aside from contributing more money to NATO defense. The increased defense budgets in NATO and the United States, as well as the rebuilding of Ukraine as a country, both military and non-military, Palantir is well positioned to capitalize on these developments. Palantir always claims that they tried to get a 30% CAGR compound annual growth rate in total for their company. While last earnings, we only grew 19% for total government growth within the entire world and the United States. I believe with these new developments and the increased spending budgets, not to mention non-military spending of Ukraine, that Palantir is well positioned to actually achieve its goal of 30% CAGR, specifically for military spending throughout the entire globe. And this growth will further solidify Palantir as the #1 military and non-military government software provider in the entire globe. This is only going to make Palantir stronger, brighter, and more profitable. Palantir has been an absolute crucial ally for Ukraine during these challenging times. And as the nation of Ukraine looks to move forward post this war, I believe that Palantir is going to be entrenched and play a vital role, even larger than it is playing right now within Ukraine's rebuilding. I want you to specifically keep an eye on Palantir as it's making a lasting impression in Ukraine and beyond, benefiting from increased spending from the United States and NATO, not to mention the land lease agreement that we have with Ukraine. There's a common misconception that we are just giving aid and we get nothing in return. In fact, we get a lot in return. We get servitude, because you see, when we do a land lease, we are literally leasing our equipment, and we are expecting to get paid back. When you get paid back, the United States essentially is making all the rules. Right now, the United States and NATO are doing several things. They're getting rid of all of their old hardware or medium-level hardware. They're sending it over to Ukraine. NATO countries that are sending hardware to Ukraine will end up buying new hardware. They will be buying that hardware from, you guessed it, American companies. And the same thing is happening with software. Right now, we are testing out a lot of software, or essentially giving out free samples in the form of Palantir Gotham and Palantir Foundry. In reality, when Ukraine is going to be building back and America is going to be setting the rules, Ukraine is going to be looking to Palantir. Not to mention, NATO countries will also be looking to Palantir. And for Palantir, this is free research and development. Palantir is literally testing their software out on the battlefield that will then be bought and used outside of the battlefield or preemptively for next wars.
As a notional example, an escalation could start with something as simple as the Chinese military conducting a routine exercise in the South China Sea. To see the full picture and make tactical, operational, and strategic decisions, the US and allied forces rely on Palantir. Monitoring the exercise, AI models running on satellite data detect an increased level of military activity. To the north, ship detection models identify an alarming buildup of fishing vessels surrounding a major Taiwanese port. An activity model detects that many of those ships are tied together, suggesting an ulterior motive and increasing the risk of a blockade. The US maintains a national interest in free trade throughout the South China Sea. And as an island only 90 miles off the coast of mainland China, Taiwan is especially reliant on freedom of navigation through international waters. This free trade is particularly critical given that Taiwan produces 80% of the world's semiconductors. The device you're watching this on today almost certainly relies on these parts. Any disruption could be disastrous. So as the team watches closely with partner nations, a new alert comes in from Japanese intelligence. The Chinese Luoyang destroyer has gone dark and isn't showing up on intelligence feeds. The ship had previously been docked at a southern naval base, but AI models detect that it's now missing. Gotham fuses data from multiple sources to project likely paths for the Luoyang. The most dangerous routes head east, towards both the military exercise and the mounting tensions outside the Taiwanese port. The analyst identifies a key fork to monitor between the routes. To collect more imagery, machine learning models built by academic and commercial partners run on data across all domains. The models determine that satellite coverage alone is not enough to find the ship. Based on what is capable and ready, the system recommends a few alternatives. The best option is an aircraft from Okinawa. Before finalizing the selection, analysts deploy the latest micromodels trained to avoid incoming threats, identify military equipment, and detect military ships. The unmanned aircraft receives its mission and prepares for takeoff. Time is ticking, and they need to find the ship quickly. As the aircraft departs, video streams back to headquarters in real time. A ship identification model detects the dimensions, speed, and weapon system of the destroyer headed north. An analyst back in the operations center verifies the detection, which confirms the Luoyang is on the most dangerous path and is only a few hours away from the potential blockade. The commander is briefed on the fast-developing situation and examines several human and machine-generated courses of action that have been jointly tested and developed in past exercises and simulations. The first option involves sending reinforcements to a nearby base, which may take too long. The second option is to send a manned aircraft over the fishing vessels, which could introduce unnecessary risk. The third option is a freedom of navigation operation, which means positioning an American or allied ship closer to the developing situation. This option appears to have the highest probability of success with the lowest risk. Joint forces decide to task an American ship. Once the choice is selected, a task order is submitted, and the American ship quickly alters course. The team watches closely as the operation progresses. And as the American ship approaches, the fishing vessel blockade begins to disband, and the Liu Yang continues north without incident. While this example was notional, events like these happen more often than you realize, and one wrong move could put millions at risk. In these situations, Palantir Gotham provides those who protect our values with the technology to make decisions at speed, and in the process, makes the world a safer place.
In addition, Palantir takes this research and development that they got for free in government use, and they're going to use that government use in the commercial sector. And this is not just me saying this is literally the track record of Palantir. The world is changing, and with it is the need for advanced technology in defense and security. Palantir is at the forefront of this revolution and this need, and their support for Ukraine is just one such example of the absolute crucial role that Palantir plays. As we see a rise in defense budgets, anticipate Palantir's influence to continue to grow. And with that said, I believe that the share price of Palantir is also gonna grow. At $8 or so a share, I do believe we had a little bit of a revitalization this year of Palantir's stock price, but I think that the future is going to be a lot brighter and better, and Palantir is going to be one of the most outperforming stocks in this next recession that we have right now. Everything right now around the world that's happening is painting a perfect picture for Palantir not only to survive, but thrive, and hopefully next year, same time, same day, Palantir is going to be part of the S&P 500. Now, whatever you do, don't forget to give me your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about Palantir. Let me know if you are buying, if you are selling, if you are neutral, and most importantly, hit the like, the share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.